I think we did it. Detective Pikachu might have just done the impossible. Hi everyone, Editor Ben here, stepping in for James. Now I know this may come as a shocking surprise, but James actually knows literally nothing about Pokemon. As entertaining as that would be to see him attempt to make an Easter egg video for Detective Pikachu, he figured it would just be better if he got someone with actual Pokemon knowledge to step it up. And that's me. So in this video, I'm going to cover some Easter eggs, references to the larger Pokemon universe, story changes from the game that this movie is based on, and attempt to list every single Pokemon included in this film. God help me. So I don't know about any of you, but a big question that I had going into this film was, does this take place in the main Pokemon universe? Well, the film makes reference to Kanto, Johto, and Sinnoh, 3 regions in the Pokemon universe from the first, second, and fourth generation games. So I guess we just skipped Hoenn then, despite Emerald being the best Pokemon game ever made. You know what? I'm over it. So very early on, we see the main character's room and a couple posters with the words Johto and Sinnoh on them. Johto being the setting for gold, silver, and crystal, and Sinnoh being the setting for diamond, pearl, and platinum. Also in this room, we see a Pokemon card collection kept in that classic binder with the sleeved pages, much like I used to have back when I was a smelly nerd. Collected Pokemon cards. That was a genuinely really nostalgic thing to see. I really like that. But does that mean that they have Pokemon card tournaments then? They're obviously not copyrighted intellectual property, so how do they regulate production of those cards and who makes them? So it mostly was always the idea to include Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu. However, conversations happened around casting possibly Dwayne Johnson, Mark Wahlberg, Hugh Jackman, and even Danny DeVito starring, which is magical to imagine. Just picture it in your head for a second.
Suicide is badass!
What a beautiful thought. But after the director Rob Letterman put together some clips of Ryan Reynolds from his own previous films and animated Pikachu on top of it, the team was absolutely convinced that they had the right guy. Despite this being the first ever live-action Pokemon movie, this film is actually not based on any of the mainline games the series is best known for, but a story-driven spin-off game made by a different company. The story of Pokemon Detective Pikachu mostly just follows the premise of the game, with a much grander scale adventure taking place, instead of focusing on it purely as a detective story. Catherine Newton's character was created by combining 2 supporting characters from the game. Bill Nye's son is the actual bad guy in the game and not the red herring he was in the film. And probably most significantly, Detective Pikachu turns out to be Tim Goodman's father, which is not a plot point that is in the game. The game just ends with you and Pikachu going on more adventures to try and track down his father. However, the very first meeting of Detective Pikachu and Tim Goodman is left somewhat the same, with Tim being attacked by a pack of aim-poms and Pikachu rescuing him. Production on this movie started after the Pokemon Company held a bidding war in 2016. Warner Brothers acquired the rights and went fully head-on into production. Rob Letterman apparently took a long time planning out what Pokemon would be used in this film and in what ways, so that the filming sequences, mostly consisting of CGI characters, would be feasible and thought out. He took a lot of influence from a lot of film noir and classics, such as Akira for the Neo-Tokyo look of the city, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, and cop movies like Serpico. You can really tell this in the beginning. He uses a lot of high-key lighting, which was a staple of film noir back in the day. There's lots of shadows over everyone's face, especially when they're discussing his father. Then as the story becomes much more fantastical, this high-key lighting style is dropped. The most overt reference, though, would have to be the film that is playing as Tim is about to meet Pikachu in the apartment. The fake film Angels with Filthy Souls is playing on the TV. This is, of course, the same gangster movie that Kevin watches in Home Alone. God, what a classic. Legendary Pokemon Mewtwo has a prominent role in Detective Pikachu, which was to be expected for any fans of the Detective Pikachu game. Like in the game, Mewtwo's body is used to create drugs to drive Pokemon wild. However, the reasoning for this being to fuse Pokemon and humans together is a complete invention of the film. The main scientist experimenting on him said that he was created 20 years ago, which is coincidentally the same amount of time that has passed since the release of Pokemon, the first movie. By the way, James and Mason did a Caravan of Garbage episode on that movie recently, the video version which got taken down for copyright, but you can still listen to on the podcast, The Weekly Planet. Very good episode. So yeah, the 20 years thing is a reference to the first Pokemon movie, Pokemon, the first movie, which I guess must be canon then in this universe? Okay, we're gonna try and do the impossible now. I am going to try and remember every single Pokemon that shows up and where. I am definitely going to miss some, so bear with me. I've only seen it once, but I think I got a pretty good grasp. Here we go! We see a flock of Pidgeys and Pidgeots flying in the very beginning, along with a bunch of Tauros, Duo, and Trio in a farm. Tim tries to catch a Cubone right at the beginning, fails miserably. There are several slackings at different points of the film, mostly completely asleep, which is a reference to their special property of always sleeping all the time. Loudred is seen several times in the film being a living DJ. Ditto, the transforming blob, turns into a Machamp and punches Tim right in the stomach. Pikachu fights a big Charizard. You got Trico, Growlithe, Rattata, Charmander, Squirtle, giant Torterras, angry attack Greninjas, an absurdly cute pack of Bulbasaurs, crazy attack Aimpoms, angry cute Snarluff, a high maintenance Psyduck, a bunch of cute Panchams and Pangoros, an Eevee that evolves into a Flareon, a Ludicolo bartender, very socially awkward train passenger Lickitung, Jigglypuff, Emolga, Mr. Mime, Magikarp, Gyarados, Kingler, Weavile, and Morlul, which I have no idea what that is. I'd never seen it before this movie, and then I googled it, found out his name is Morlul. More as if you want more lull. Great name. And there are a couple references to legendary Pokemon. Tim has a large Rayquaza sticker high up on his wall. I think it's actually pronounced Rayquaza. Mew is mentioned as the original Pokemon Mewtwo was cloned from, generally regarded to be one of the cutest Pokemon of all time. It's a shame we never got to see him in this film. And finally, when the film cuts to Bill Nye's character's office, we see statues of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. Giratina. Let's call him Giratina. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. These Pokemon control time, space, and antimatter, and were said to have created the world itself. The antagonist of the game that they all feature in, Pokemon Platinum, is seen at one point standing in front of all three of these guys in a similar way to Howard Clifford, which you could view as a small clue to his later revealed villainhood. Okay, what else we got? Let's see. I found a building in the background that just has Zubat printed on it. That's a reference. At one point, the main character tries to stamp out the fire on Charizard's tail, which, according to the Pokédex, if I'm right, means he was trying to kill it. Charmander's tail is constantly burning, and apparently if the flame goes out, it dies. What a jerk. Very early on in the film, we see a Snorlax sleeping in the middle of the road, acting as a sort of roadblock as a Machoke points directions to cars passing by. I'm going to take a good guess that this is a reference to the very first Pokemon game, where Route 12 is infamously blocked by a sleeping Snorlax on the docks and needs to be woken up by a Pokeflute in order to pass. Ken Watanabe's character is named Yoshida and is likely named after Hironobu Yoshida, which is one of the more prominent character designers for Game Freak, which are the creators of Pokemon. The main character, Tim Goodman, is played by Justice Smith, who also starred in one of my favorite movies, Paper Towns, which is notable purely for the fact that there is a scene at a key plot point in that film where the characters have to sing the Pokemon theme song to muster up the courage to enter a spooky hole in the wall of an abandoned building. Charizard is also mentioned in this scene shortly after they sing the song, which is just crazy to me. Speaking of the Pokemon theme song, though, the absurdly famous song is played as an instrumental when we are introduced to Bill Nye and Chris Gere's characters, as they're doing some sort of press report. But then the theme song is actually sung by Pikachu himself while he's moping on a dirt road. That one got a really big laugh from my theater. It was a very, very funny moment. And then talking again of music, the music that plays during the closing credits is the main theme to Pokemon Red and Blue, which is also commonly thought of as the main Pokemon theme music. And finally, the final battle between Mewtwo and Pikachu happens on giant Pokemon balloons, which might maybe be a reference to Pokefloats from Super Smash Bros. Melee. Am I the only one who thought of this? It was strikingly similar. It just felt like it was a Super Smash Bros. Match. It's really weird. But hey, holy shit, man. They made a really good movie. This was a kick-ass, fun, entertaining movie, and it was based on a video game. They did the impossible. I never thought they'd be able to make a Pokemon movie, and they actually made it happen. I think it was a really, really good idea to go with a spin-off story instead of trying to based on the main storylines of RPGs. I would find it very difficult to believe that they could make that work. But by taking a spin-off story, they could just craft their own fun little dynamic, and Pikachu talking is a great idea. The character designs were super great, and the CGI was pretty excellent for the most part. But I'm really tired and I need to go to bed now. What did you think of the movie? What did you think of Pokemon Detective Pikachu? And what were the cool, clever Easter eggs that you caught that I definitely missed? Thank you so much to Mitch for editing this. This feels really weird to be passing my own voice off to another editor. It feels like the roles have completely reversed. This is strange. We're in the time vortex. But yeah, anyways, he's a really good dude. I appreciate him. So leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on Detective Pikachu and on any clever details that you found. You can follow me on Twitter in the meantime. I'm at Ben Chinapen on Twitter. Have a good night, everyone. Stay beautiful. Stay saucy. I love you.